Hello, hello. Welcome to a brand new venture of inspiration and creativity. I'm Zaffarah, your host, and you're tuned into Hello, Hello with Zaffarah, powered by GAAS Media. So, this is not just an ordinary podcast, it's a celebration of life, it's a celebration of resilience, of creativity, inspiration, and just the human spirit. In this show, we will embark on a journey with artists, with entrepreneurs, with thought leaders, with change makers, individuals who are really making a difference, who are doing something noteworthy, who are either at the verge of discovery or they're silently reshaping the world. Today, we have a really special guest. He's here all the way from Germany. His name is Tim. Tim is an artist. He's a performing artist. He's an aerialist. He is an acrobat extraordinaire. He's a keynote speech maker and the ingenious founder of a path-breaking app called the Pending app. And he's here all the way from Germany. Hello, Tim. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Lovely.
How does it feel now that we're here live? How does it feel to be in India? How long has it been here? Tell us more about your time spent in India in the last couple of days.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. Pleasure meeting you, pleasure being in India. It's my second time, and this time I really get to stay a few days. I'm here since 3 days. Right. One more day, and I really feel like I slowly get to know the country and the culture a little bit better finally.
Tell us about the cities that you've visited so far and what's on the agenda in the next couple of days.
Yeah, so in general, I had the pleasure of seeing so many amazing cities all around the world. Just in the last month, I was lucky enough to be in Chicago, New York City,
wow,
in Munich, which I know really well, Rome, and yeah, now I'm here. And also in the next few weeks, I will have travels to Thailand, to Canada for a second, and then actually I will come to India again, which makes me kind of excited.
Are you here for work, back for work?
Yes, I will come back for work, for a huge event. I think it has some national awareness already, but
wow, I think we know already. I think that's going to be something that will leave our audiences to decipher. But tell us about anything in particular that you liked about India. I'm going to take from India. We're going to go multiple places, but something that you really like about the city, Delhi, because I know that you've been here before and you've really enjoyed it.
Yes, I think it's the spirit, it's the life that you can feel on the street. It's pulsing, it's high-paced, it's energetic. And even though for a German where everything is super organized and people could say boring,
right,
it can be very overwhelming, but for me it's happening in a very great way that is really nourishing the senses in a way.
So does it inspire you in any capacity when you travel around the world, especially for your aerial, artwork, art form, like your acrobat? Does it inspire you when you travel to different parts of the world?
It does for sure. I think whenever you travel, you get to see new cultures, countries. Something is triggered that gets you excited because you get new inputs and you are out of your normal routine, being
right
at home with things that you know, with people that you know. And for me, it always sparks a deeper creativity as well because you dream, you explore, and you're just taken out of your normal environment, which helps me.
I think because you also mentioned you're conducting workshops here, you're teaching acrobats. Is that the right way to say it?
Acrobatics,
yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So the person who performs is an acrobat artist,
yeah,
and the art form is acrobatics.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So since you're teaching it as well, do you think there lies a scope in a country like India for acrobatics?
I think so for sure. In India, especially, it's not as developed yet in the way we know and perform circus and acrobatics. Yes. But there are more and more people doing it, and I think there's a great potential. I think it's just about finding the right people that you can train with and the right venues that give you the conditions in order to train acrobatics.
And have you found any?
Yes, I'm at a place called the Boulder Box. It's a climbing studio that also offers aerial classes. It's a lovely space, and people are so open and so interested, and even took my workshop never being up in the air, but just because there's curiosity to it.
So in India, we are very fond of classical art forms, classical dance forms, but we also, we subscribe to the Western art forms as well. And say, for example, acrobatics is something very new, right? And I know that I personally don't know of many people here, but I know there's a huge, like you said, there's huge curiosity to learn. Mm-hmm. And also because it comes with a lot of training and strength training and a lot of physical training, Like in theater, it's not so much of a requirement, but something like acrobatics requires that kind of training. So tell us about that, like how strenuous has this training been for you as an artist, especially from where you come from, and then how do you think it translates into your performance? Like, do you need a lot of training to become an acrobatist?
Yes, for sure, it takes a lot of training, but also what you said is really interesting. I feel like there are different reasons why you do things, obviously, for everything, but acrobatics is getting like a great way for people of staying fit in a different way, in a creative way. We saw it with pole dance, for example. It evolved also kind of into a fitness. It's not just going to the gym, lifting weights. It's more creative. It's a full body workout, but still you get to be in a creative environment in a way.
Absolutely.
And the same is happening with circus or acrobatics as well. But for me, it was similar. I started out of joy, first of all. It slowly built up, but for sure, if you want to do it on a certain level, if your career depends on it, you have to train very hard and also a lot.
Lovely.
And there are different times within your career. If you're just building yourself, for sure, you have to invest a lot. And now it's more maintaining, but also working on new skills, new acts, new creations in a way, which is very specific. So I would say it can be less demanding, but you can never stop growing. So depending on that, you focus your energy and your training into a certain direction, for example.
How long have you been training for, Tim?
I started in an unprofessional way when I was, I guess, 8-9 years old. Professionally, I started when I was 14. I visited Germany's National Circus School. Which means you go out of that school with a degree, like you are a circus performer, proved by the state, like officially acknowledged, but you also do your normal economic studies, like the high school and the A-level, for example.
Oh, okay. So is there any intersection that you see in business and in the performing arts with acrobatics?
Yes, I think acrobatics is a teacher for life, basically, because it teaches you resilience, but it also teaches you that good things take time and you cannot just build something in a week of training, for example. Same in business, right? You have to work very hard. You start, I will use myself as a little boy as an example. I was not strong, I was not flexible, I was not creative, but you have to form something, right? Which takes years and dedication every single day. And I think it's the same, for example, founding a company, having a startup, that it's stone on stone, not just for the first 6 months that are exciting and fun, but for basically years, and looking at it from many different perspectives to see the whole in a way.
I was going to get there because I know that you're not just a performer, you're also an entrepreneur. You have founded this amazing app called the Pending app, which, by the way, is doing really well in India as well. And that's the data that we have, and you're going to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so being an artist, especially a physical performer, I realized early on that it's not a job that you will do till you're 50, especially in my case, because it's really demanding for the body as well. So I always knew that at some point I will start a different journey that goes hand in hand with my stage career, basically.
Right.
And then COVID hit. I think it hit all of us all around the world. And I was realizing that it might be a good timing of embarking a new journey, something that I know, that I'm experienced with, but at the same time, a whole new world for me. So how can I bring my own experience into something that is not physically demanding and basically something else? Yes. That was my initial thought. And I was lucky enough to have many collaborations with artists of different art forms, also before COVID. And I was realizing that having a space, a platform of meeting each other on an eye-to-eye level in order to create, to find together, and to make new things happen is something that I lacked, I missed. And I was always balancing that out through my personal network. Yeah. But especially also when you're starting, for example, you don't have that network, you have to build it. So the idea was to have a platform, an app-based platform for now, where artists can meet and new things can happen and evolve.
I think that's actually very true because a COVID-ravaged world did shrink the artistic community by leaps and bounds. I personally felt that as well, because even as actors, as filmmakers, there was a lot of stuff that was happening remotely, right? And there was a lot of global, cross-pollination that was happening in terms of art, in terms of artists, in terms of acting, in terms of performances. And I think that what it did was something very beautiful. It became like a little, a sort of a revolution, like a melting pot of artists coming together and doing their own thing. And so with the pending app, and because I've been on it and I've been discovering, what the new features that you keep bringing in, and I know that there is a lot that is pending on the pending app that I know that it's going to come in the near future. Mm-hmm. So tell us about any cool features that you're going to be launching on the app for our viewers to actually subscribe to the app, download it and then use it. Mm-hmm. So it develops that kind of an interest here as well.
Yeah, as you said, it's definitely a work in progress, especially because our whole team are connected to the arts as well. Mm. And it's also still the fact that all of us, we make a living from our art. And the pending is such a passion project for us. We take it so seriously. But we also don't come from a background where we just want to blow up this app in a way of collecting lots of money, making it big and making lots of money with it. That's not the vision and not why we do it. So we decided on purpose to grow it more organically, but to keep the soul and the essence of what it is. So step by step, we develop new features, we collect feedback, we really try to do it together with the artists on the app. For now, you have collaboration tools in order to find together, let's say I'm an acrobat, I want to meet you, an actress as well, right? So I have tools of finding together location-based, but also specific to what I'm looking for. We have job features of easing the process of finding a job, but also what we are working on, for example, is a portfolio feature. All your work that represents you in one place, easy to export, easy to send to people, to companies. Because the app itself can be about that, but it's not the purpose. It's not the purpose to show off and look how great I am. It's part of our business, and that's what most of us do on Instagram. But the app itself should also be a place where questions can be asked, discussions can be held, and more this collective community feeling instead of look at me, know. But the look at me fact is also really important to market yourself. So we want to integrate that separately in the platform, for example.
Right. So the vision essentially is to empower the artistic community. Exactly. And, have them, stay at that space and voice their opinions, right?
Totally that. And also collaboration is definitely a key feature. And, artists respect the craft of other artists so much because we know what it takes, right? Mm-hmm. So it was really also important for us to create an environment where it's okay to approach other artists, right, to ask if we can collaborate, because on other platforms, it almost feels rude approaching another artist, asking, hey, I do this project, you don't earn any money, but do you want to work with and for me. It feels wrong to do, but there are many artists that depend on collaborations that also want to collaborate because it can create a beneficial value for everyone involved, right? And we want to create an environment where it's okay and wanted to be approached, for example.
So, what kind of artists would the pending app house, like from different categories? Like, let's talk about the art forms, the artists.
So basically, the vision is to have everyone included that is connected to the arts and creativity, which is obviously a big challenge because we are not in a position to judge what is art, what is not art, who is an artist. You know, it's very difficult and a fine line. But we try to define blocks at least with music, film, photography, but even like tattoo artists, obviously dancers, acrobats. There's a wide range of categories, even though we don't like to label things. So categories is probably also not the right word. But I think the easiest is to just check, and we have the option to give feedback in case someone is not able to find him, her, themselves within the app, you know.
And Metaverse is another feature that you're going to be launching where people can actually give virtual performances and live performances and events that you're going to be hosting on the app. And do you think that that is something that will be sort of a bit of a game changer? Because nobody's doing that, from my knowledge, and I know that it will be huge, at least in this part of the world. So what are your thoughts on the technology when it comes to Metaverse, and how do you see it expanding in India?
Well, I have to say I was new to the metaverse thing till probably 2 years ago, and it blew my mind what is possible and how crazy things develop these days. But I have colleagues in my team that are really familiar with it, and I try to learn as much as possible, dive into it. And I think there lies a huge chance, especially for artists, in order to show their work in a different way, but also to make their work more accessible and profitable. Not talking about it in detail, but I think it's an industry that will develop step by step. Maybe it won't be the new internet tomorrow, but it will happen
Eventually,
over time.
absolutely. Yeah.
So I think it's very smart also for artists to get familiar with the topic, with the possibilities. And what we want to basically offer is easing the access, just exploring the metaverse, because many artists, they don't even know what it is or heard of it. Why not just getting into the app and find it out yourself, like making it accessible, but also showing them of how they can use it for their benefit. That's our goal, and especially in India, because you're such a tech-driven country, right? And it's getting so much and more. I think that definitely this is something that will be huge.
Tell me something else about the app, Tim. That is there a possibility for artists, especially when it comes to as artists, as an artist community, we're all very driven by our art form, but very rarely do we talk about monetizing it. So, is there something that you have in mind, or the future of the app, wherein artists can actually monetize their talents?
Yes. So basically, the first step to what we clearly see is through collaborations.
Right.
There comes a new value to your own portfolio, basically, that you need to market yourself, that you need to sell your work, basically. So this is something we want to reinforce, but also we realize that there are so many powerful insights, so much knowledge from different sides of the arts world, no matter if it's performing, if it's visual art. So we also want to integrate something where artists basically can share their knowledge, their experiences, but monetize it for other artists, but also for newcomers, for example. So basically community-driven exchange. But also the thing of, how should I explain that? Basically, if you have a powerful community of artists that know how to market themselves, that know how to make up amazing projects with a small budget because they support each other, it's easier to raise your awareness towards, for example, agencies or bookers. Right. So we want to find a new way of making the strong artist community, these amazing artists visible, and bring them in a better position in order to negotiate, to be someone actually, you know.
Got it. Yeah, I think visibility is what the app is essentially working towards. And that's what's going to get the attention of the most important people, I guess, in the industry. And obviously now that's about the app. But we also know, Tim, that you're quite a world-class performer. And I'm going to read out something that I read from your press kit. And this is mind-blowing, actually. It says hardly any other German performing artist has attracted as much international attention as Berliner Tim Kriegler. With his aerial hoop performance, he has rightfully ascended to the Olympus of world-class artists. So you're a celebrity when it comes to the world of acrobatics. How does that feel? And I know that you've recently just performed at the Cirque du Soleil, and you've been doing tours, and you've been working around the world, and you've been living out of a suitcase. How does that feel? And now you're sitting here with me on Hello Hello at Zaffarah.
It's my big pleasure. No, it's, I think in the circus world, the word celebrity is not the same as in other industries because we are quite a niche. But for sure, I feel super lucky and super happy to have experienced so many different things, meaning contracts, meaning meeting people, projects, productions. It's quite unique, and it was always my dream since childhood days, so it feels amazing, that's first of all. Also the traveling part, I personally enjoyed a lot. I gave away my apartment and most of my belongings because I thought if I'm on the road most of the time, let's do it full time, let's do it properly, and let's just be free. And I feel like there's nothing close to that feeling, or also to being able to just do that. I really enjoy it. And also the different contracts. Cirque du Soleil has been my huge dream as well. Being on that stage feels amazing. But also the mix of other performing stages, small, big, huge audiences, very intimate, small audiences. It's really something special.
What would be your favorite destination when it comes to performance? Like, has there been like one particular stage that you've really loved and you want to go back to? Apart from Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil, sorry. Is that, am I saying it right?
Yeah, it's like, I'm also not saying it perfectly. It's the French way of saying it. It's like Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, nice. Excuse us if we said it wrong, but we're still learning.
Listens to me, it will also not be perfect. So
it's okay. I think our audiences get that. It's not our first language, but we all know, we're aware of it, and we know it's huge. So any particular stage that you want to go back to?
Yes. There was a very special moment really early in my performing career when I just finished school. It was the biggest competition for circus performers in the world in Paris. Oh, wow. And I was this innocent, young, still innocent boy just out of circus school, and the whole industry from all around the world is there. It's streamed live on television. Still every year it's on television. Like it's a very big thing. And I made second place. I won the silver medal there.
Worldwide?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Which was basically, amazing and a dream come true, and opened so many doors.
How long ago was this?
It was 2017, I think. And I just started my performing career.
Oh, it's not very old then. Quite recent.
For me, it feels like it's so many ages ago. I mean, it's just like 7-ish, I guess. But it feels like it has been 20 years ago, just because so much happened, squeezed in such a short time. But yeah, you have to imagine it's the biggest freestanding tent venue in the world, with thousands capacity. And the atmosphere in that tent is insane. It's a huge stage, and you hang up there 20 meters up in the air. Wow. For those of you who don't know meters, it's probably the height of the 7th floor of a high building, or 8th floor, something like that. Yeah.
That's scary.
And it
Sorry,
feels
come
amazing.
Have you had any injuries whilst performing? I'm sure you must have. It's quite dangerous.
It
From
is
the
dangerous, but injuries just in the sense of maybe you pull a muscle or you stretch too much, because from a certain point, especially if you hang high up in the air, you only fall once. Like
and then
you can't have a major accident. So luckily this never happened.
good. I'm glad.
Yes. And small stuff is just part of this lifestyle.
I guess. So, Tim, because we've spoken so much about the app now, we've talked about you, we want to know about your future plans when it comes to whether it's the app, whether the pending, or your live performances in India. I know that you want to come back here. We're very aware of that, and I hope you do. So, anything on the agenda in the next couple of months that you want to do here? Establish yourself as an artist here, maybe as a business, here. You want to give away some information to our audiences?
Yes, for sure. So, talking about my acrobatic career, I think there's, first of all, a huge potential. You have amazing and beautiful events.
We do.
Yeah,
And large scale.
yes, and it's a pleasure getting insights into that, being part of that world for a few days every now and then. Um, we mentioned the other event coming in a few weeks, which
Yes.
will be an extraordinary experience, I guess. But also for the app, I think, or actually also through you, I know India is full of so many beautiful and versatile artists. And what would be a dream of ours as well is to really give a platform for them, to build a home around the world for artists. And I think, therefore, India is a great place. And
I think so too. Yeah.
obviously, I guess we have to share some other news, because
That's
we
going
have
that's
been
going to
exchanging
come,
on
yeah,
that
absolutely.
a lot as well. So I think there's some stuff in the preparation.
All in
Right.
good time.
Exactly.
So I think, guys, if you haven't logged into the app yet, it's called the Pending app, and it's available on both Android and iPhone. Is it?
Exactly. And in English for now.
And do you want to shout out the handles to our audiences? Do you want to talk about the handles? Do you want them to subscribe and tell a little bit about the app as well?
Yes, for sure. So it's the Pending app. Pending in a sense of every artist is on a journey, every artist is evolving, and we want to provide a home for all of that and more. So you can find us on Instagram and on both app stores, the Google Play Store and the App Store. It's very easy to log in, to create a profile, and just feel super free to share everything, a work in progress, a question, a collaboration request. Let's bring this place to life.
And the entire Pending app team is quite approachable, so it's really nice to be able to speak to the founders themselves.
Yes.
That's how we connected, and I
Yeah.
think that's a great thing when the founders of the app are so accessible to the audiences and the artist community. Tim, talking about Cirque du Soleil, I know it's like a massive name in the industry, in the performance arts world. How has your experience been? And tell us about how long has it taken you to get to this dream? Because I know it's not the easiest to achieve.
Yeah, first of all, being on that stage, having had that experience is absolutely amazing, especially because it was my biggest career goal that I wanted to reach. So I guess reaching big goals like that feels amazing no matter what you're doing or who you are. But yeah, it definitely took me years and many nerves. But at the same time, if you have something that you dream about, it also keeps you nourished, keeps you fueled and motivated. Exactly. So one of the reasons why I started Circus was Cirque du Soleil. I got a DVD back in the days, right? DVDs, and watched it over and over again and was mesmerized already. And I was maybe 7 years old. And I knew that I want to be on that stage. And I watched, I think, all of the documentaries on the internet that are
Wow.
out there about this process. And it made me realize that it's quite a long way. And it's actually true. The different approaches. Some people do years and rounds of auditions. I got seen at the festival in Paris that I talked about.
So you got spotted.
Yes,
Oh,
and I
wow.
landed in the database, which also takes a long time to get into. But when you're in the database, it just means you are a potential candidate for a role.
Right.
But even then, there are discussions, meetings. You might have to send in other stuff. You might have to come in person. But just if you're in the database, you can even be considered.
Wow.
So many years, many times we have been in touch for different things. But, big projects, big company, plans change. The artistic director might someone that is taller, shorter, different skin color.
Yeah.
So many things. So it was a long, long process, but it finally worked out. And now I'm about to do my second contract, my second show
Wow,
with them.
that's awesome. But because we know Cirque du Soleil from what we see on stage or what we see on television in formats, whether it's movies, whether it's through interviews of artists, etc. But since you've been there, you've been on that stage, and you're living the dream. What would you tell somebody who's an aspiring acrobat artist, who's an aspiring artist, performance artist, and who wants to make it to that stage? What would your advice be? Because I know it's a long process to get into to on that stage. Like you mentioned, the administrative process is so long, the rounds of auditions and, all of that rigmarole. So what is it that you would recommend to those artists, aspiring artists?
I mean, the cheesiest not to give up on this dream, even though it sometimes seems impossible or you've tried already and failed, which is the next one. Like failing and being insecure is part
Of
of
life,
this,
yeah.
of life and this process, because it's not an easy thing you're trying to achieve. So it's totally normal. Um, but I guess the most important is not to doubt yourself too much. For sure, like to have this inner critic and to reflect is necessary to grow and to continue on your journey. But this voice can't get so loud that it stops you from doing your thing and following that goal. It might be Cirque, but it might be another goal.
I think that's such a wonderful lesson. That's such an important thing we want to talk about as well in this show, because never muffle um, that that sort of drive that you have, that kind of keeps you going. It gives you a reason to wake up in the morning and say, yeah, you've got to go after that dream.
Yeah, but you said something really important. You have to have that spark, that
Yes.
dream, and keep it alive. But you have to be able to transform it into hard work.
As
Because
well.
even though you dream and it's exciting, it will always also be hard work and consistent work. And you have to use that inspiration, that motivation, that dream in order to do the hard work that might be uncomfortable as well,
I think you're right, because motivation is something that you have to train on a regular basis. It's not something that you're just blessed with. I think that's been a bit of a misconception when people say, you have to be motivated and self-motivated. I think what that also means is that you have to keep telling yourself that you have to be self-motivated, right?
Yes.
And I think that's a very important part of an artist's life. Now, that brings me to a very interesting question, Tim, because as artists, I'm an artist, you're an artist. There are a lot of people sitting here who are artists. And as artists is a class that is synonymous with struggles. It is synonymous with hardships. It is synonymous with courage, resilience. It's also synonymous with a lot of depression, a lot of mental health struggles. I wanted your take on this as an artist, as a global artist who's representing such a diverse community of artists. What is your take? And is it the same for you in your part of the world like it is for us here? Does it work the same way? Do you feel the same struggles? Do you feel the same drive? Do you feel the same emotions?
I guess, as you said, it's a universal thing. And even though locally, like depending on where you are in this world, struggles might vary a little bit. But I think the main struggles will be exactly the same in a way of I previously talked to your sister about this, and it's about sometimes not knowing what comes next, waiting for confirmations, getting cancellations because things change, and you're just the artist that sometimes it's not even getting notified if they don't want you anymore. So you have to learn not to take things personally, I guess, but it still causes a struggle, I guess. This is just one of many examples. It continues with finding a home when you travel a lot. Your home is your suitcase and your hotel room, but even though you love it, it can also lead to lonely moments sometimes. And I guess this is also something quite universal. um, and I think just also believing in your dream, in your vision and your art when no one else does is quite something that I've heard from many colleagues, friends and artists around me. um, and often also makes the difference, right? Because if you listen to the mass or you go with the mass, probably you are you're missing this uniqueness that makes you special also as an artist.
I agree with that. I don't think rejection should, in any way, shape, or form, be a deterrent on your journey as an artist, because
Exactly.
you're going to face so much of it.
Yes.
So much of it. And I'm
Yes.
sure, as somebody who's so well accomplished as you now, I'm sure you must have had your share of rejections as well.
But even like from the side of economical struggles, in a way, the society loves to consume art, right?
Yeah.
Like watch Netflix, go to concerts, watch a cool circus show where people flip around while you eat and enjoy. But at the same time, I'm in Germany, we're lucky, we get support for artists.
Yeah.
But still, it's not easy. But in other parts of the world, even though arts are well consumed, there is not the willingness from a government side, for example, to give the necessary support to fuel and nourish this in order to make it grow. So I think this is also a struggle that we see all over the world, basically.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's again a universal thing, and it's getting there. It's getting better. I
Yes.
feel, and with people like yourself, and the inventions that you've done with the app and the things that you're coming up with, I think it makes the process a lot easier for artists to then be able to kind of confide in other artists and find a common community to have their word heard.
Exactly.
And which brings me to the last segment of our episode, and I would like you to talk about the pending app to our camera and just give away the handles and how does one log on to it, what is the process. It's yours.
Okay, so you can find the Pending app on the Play Store for Android devices, but also on the App Store for all Apple iPhones. And it's very easy to create your profile. Feel free to share whatever you feel like. If it's representing your art, your work, if you just want to connect with fellow artists, feel free to do exactly that, to spread the word. And you can also find us on Instagram. It's depending.app. And yeah, also our whole team that is working on the app is accessible within the app, but also on Instagram. Just hit us up if there are any questions, any input, or even feedbacks. We are super open for that.
And I'm very, very excited to have you back again. So the next time we're here, we're probably going to hear a lot more about the event that you've been performing at in India, and things that you've been doing in the last couple of months all over the world. And we're surely going to do something with the Pending app as well. And guys, you have to stay tuned. You have to subscribe. You have to log on to. You have to follow us on all social media channels, because the Pending app is going to be announcing a collaboration very soon. And if you like the vibe of the show, if you like Tim's interview, and if you want to connect with him, myself, the show, please like, comment, share, hit that button on your screen right on its third eye. Connect with us. We'll bring you some really cool episodes and people in the future as well. Have a great day. Thank you for coming, Tim.